And we are live. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome back. This is my channel, Jason Shirka, right here on YouTube. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in. Thank you all very much for being here. I am live with each and every one of you right now with some breaking news, a whole lot to share with you. But before we dive into all of that, I want to ask you all, as usual, how I always start my live streams. Where is everybody tuning in from? What city, what state, what country, what town, what village? It doesn't matter. Where are you from all around the world? And my intention for starting every live stream like that is because I want to show how far and wide we really all come from all around this planet and that we're not alone. So I see people from Great Neck, New York, Texas, Princeton, New Jersey, Vegas, Montana, Florida, Miami, London, Baton Rouge, Missouri, Montana, Plymouth, Massachusetts, Scotland. This list is going very fast. New Jersey, Israel, Kentucky, Phoenix, Arizona, DC, United Kingdom, Vancouver Island. I will be there soon, by the way, on the next Revolution of Healing tour coming to Canada in August. Washington State, Colorado, Sweden, California, Canada, Long Island, Australia, Minnesota. It just keeps going. Germany, New York, Utah, Australia, Nebraska, Idaho. Thank you all very, very much for being here. I know all of you are writing your city, states, countries, towns. Thank you all, wherever you're tuning in from. Today's a very big day. 3 days ago, by the way, was my birthday. I'm officially 28 years old, 28 cycles around the sun. And we are here with some very, very big news to share with each and every one of you. So, again, I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you all very much for being here. And thank you all very much for your support. Now, with that, the title of this live is kind of twofold. Breaking news. The first one was I've been silent for long enough. And right now we're focusing on the fact that what I'm about to reveal changes absolutely everything. And that's not an exaggeration, it does. But what's about to be covered is a lot. There's a lot of information, there's a lot of things to follow. I will make it as concise and easy to follow as possible, but I will start with this, and this is really important. What I'm about to do is not something I enjoy doing by any means. And I don't mean to start it on that note, but it's true. I don't enjoy doing what I'm about to do. But I've been put in a situation where I have no choice but to respond in this way. And that's because certain individuals have been sharing falsehoods, false statements about me and my family. Ultimately, my goal, which is always my goal, is peace. It's coming together, it's unity. That's why I started Unified. My goal is peace. And I'm sure that everyone would love to see that happen sooner rather than later, because fighting and lawsuits, it's not only not in alignment with what we all stand for, but it also hurts people along the way unnecessarily, people that aren't even a part of it. To achieve this goal, and I said it once and I'll say it again, forgiveness is key. Peace is key. And as long as everyone can come back into their heart, drop anything attached to the ego, and zoom out to see the bigger picture, I truly believe that that goal of resolution, peace, and forgiveness can come to fruition. But only time will tell, because I'm not the only one in control here. There are multiple people that have to make decisions in order to bring forth that desired destination that everybody is asking for of peace. I'll continue with this. Embodying a spiritual life of goodness, of giving, unconditional love, forgiveness, does not mean that you just allow other people to walk all over you like a doormat and simply don't respond in the name of spirituality. On the contrary, when people take part in negative actions, it's our duty, it's our obligation, especially from a spiritual standpoint, to stand up for the truth. And that's exactly what I'm doing here today. I will not allow people to hurt others while stepping all over me and my father, who is no longer with us today, because they decided to bow down to their false god of money. No matter how hard the journey gets, I will speak up. I will fight. This is not something I enjoy doing, but if I must, I will. I will always put the truth first, and the truth will always prevail because that's usually and always what happens. I must emphasize again that the best way forward is peace and forgiveness and nothing else. After all, that's the mission that we're all on. But it does take two to tango to get to such a destination in this case. The most important part for me of this journey is the fact that it has made me a whole lot stronger. It's turned me into a very powerful force. And I know it's training for me for what is to come down the line. It's reminded me of what is truly important in life: loving, giving, forgiving, coming together. I'm grateful for this journey because while most see it as a hardship, I see it as an opportunity. And this is a case where I have to practice what I preach, an opportunity to truly test myself and my values, an opportunity to test my faith, an opportunity to get stronger than ever before, and most importantly, an opportunity to do what's right, no matter how difficult it may be at times. Now, what is my intention with all of this? Many people have asked questions about the topic I'm about to uncover, and that's the reason why I'm choosing to cover it in this manner. I have to preface with the fact that while I do not, and I can't say that enough, I do not enjoy making videos like this. I've been given no other choice because the truth must be represented properly when falsehoods are being spread. As I've said many times, my intention is never to bring anyone down. But when falsehoods are spread, the truth must be revealed with clarity and evidence. And most importantly, with the intention of preventing the public, aka all of you, from getting hurt in any way. I will show you the evidence I am talking about today for all of you to see with your own two eyes. After all, knowledge, awareness, and truth are how we break free. And that is exactly what will be shared with absolute and abundant clarity today. While what I'm going to share today is intended to ensure that the public has clarity, all of you have clarity on certain issues that have been brought up over the last few months, my intention is not to create more chaos. As I've said many times already, I hope to achieve peace pertaining to the issue I will share more about today. An issue that unfortunately has turned into a very ugly situation unnecessarily. So, in my eyes, it's time to bring closure to this situation as a whole, because I don't intend to continue giving it any more attention after today, unless, of course, I'm given no other choice by having to respond to a further attack. Providing there are no further attacks, directly or indirectly, through using other individuals as a mouthpiece, there will be no further responses, not on this matter at least. So let's begin with a little recap for anyone who is new to all of this and the topics being covered today. I'd like to just reiterate that everything being shared today is part of public records for everyone to access. On January 28th, 2025, I shared a story with all of you in a video titled "The Revolution is Here." That video, by the way, is on my YouTube channel. This was a story focused on real life events with some major implications pertaining to certain individuals that did whatever they could to keep my mouth shut. These individuals are Sandra Rose Michael, her son Michael Bertolocini, and their company, EE System. I cannot stress enough that what is going to be shared today, while it may be shocking, and I'm sure it will be, does not change the efficacy of the technology. The technology is not in question. And therefore, what wellness center owners possess all around the world is in fact incredible. It really is. The proof is in the pudding. We see what it does. But while we're on the topic of center owners, I want to honor them for the work that they've done all around the world by stepping up to this mission and taking the leap of faith that they did. They've taken a big leap to make this world, and most importantly, your communities in over 55 countries around the world, better places to live, healthier places to live. For that, we have to thank them. So I want to start with that by thanking the individuals that made all of this possible, no matter where they stand, because without them, none of this would have been possible in the first place. None of them are in question here. On the contrary, like I said, we have to be grateful for these individuals that made all of this possible. But what is in question is Sandra, her son Michael, and EE System as a company. It seems they believe that they could buy themselves out of problems with money that I helped them make, but not this one. You see, when you defame my name, call me a thief, try to convince people that I'm a con artist, lack gratitude for all that was done for you, disrespect my dead father, have the audacity to make claims about my father, such as faking his own death after the man died in my own arms, and ask your security team to, and I quote, shut someone up permanently, which is directly cited from a signed and notarized affidavit from a security guard who used to work for them. Again, not my words, but the direct words in the letter that he wrote, their former security guard. When you do all of those things, no amount of money can buy you out of such a problem. Agreeing to make such problems disappear in exchange for money is called selling your soul. And that's not something that I can do. It's not something that I will ever be willing to do. However, that doesn't mean we can't agree to disagree. That doesn't mean we can't find a peaceful resolution. That doesn't mean we can't put our differences aside and keep moving forward on our own separate paths, which I believe is the best way forward. The only reason I'm responding in such a way right now is because they keep moving forward with attacks against me, against my family, against my father, who is no longer here to defend himself. If they simply stopped their public attacks based on falsehoods, I would never even bother making videos like this in the first place. But as it stands, they've chosen another path, at least for now. And I hope that changes sooner rather than later. Until it does, let's keep moving forward with the factual order of events, something that I will show you piece by piece with evidence to back everything up instead of empty words. On April 20th, 2025, I shared a more detailed video diving deeper into what was shared in the January 28th video. In summary, the main points were this, and I will show you all the evidence, by the way, in just a moment. Number one, Robert Religa is the sole and exclusive creator / owner of the copyright of his technology known as the Synchronicity Engine, which the Light System as a company, not to be confused with the organization, has exclusive rights worldwide for the next 20 years. And before I keep going, I want to actually show you that so you see that. So none of this is left in question and there are no empty words. There's just evidence. This is the copyright. It's a computer file. Here's your registration number, Synchronicity Engine 1996, electronic deposit, Robert John Religa, Jedi Technologies. The address is right there in the United States, originally created in 1996, and so on and so forth. You get the point. But again, my goal is to show you guys everything so you don't just take my word for it, because I don't expect anybody to ever take my word for anything. I expect the facts and the proof to speak for itself. Number two, the founder of the EE System Company, Sandra Rose Michael, licensed the source code to that technology under her prior entity titled Body of Light from Robert Religa in 2001, meaning she didn't invent it, because you don't license something from somebody else that you invented. That's just not how licensing works. If I'm licensing something from you, that means you created it, especially if the contract says that you are the exclusive copyright holder and I am simply the licensee. By the way, the license completely expired in 2016, which was roughly 9 years ago. Now, again, instead of just taking my word for it, I will show this to you so you could see it with your own two eyes and not have anything left up for taking somebody's word for it. It's right here. This is the license agreement signed August 19th, 2001 between Body of Light and Robert Religa, signed by Sandra herself under BOL, otherwise known as Body of Light. And I won't go and read this whole thing, but you can always pause your screen whenever you want to read it. It explains the term. It explains the fact that Robert is the exclusive copyright owner of the Synchronicity Engine version 7, and that Body of Light only holds rights to the linguistics that they included onto that technology in version 7 specifically. Meaning Robert Religa is the copyright holder, and there is no doubt about it that he is the copyright holder and owner of the Synchronicity Engine 1996. Again, you can pause your screen whenever you'd like so you can read that for yourself. You can see all the details, and you can take it from there. Now, number three, that was just number two. Number three, the source code used in EE System, which Sandra claims to have invented after having, and I quote, a download from source, is now being litigated in a federal lawsuit in New York that Robert Religa, the inventor of the copyrighted source code, brought forth with a claim of both defamation and copyright infringement with some serious implications and consequences. And number four, the Light System, the company, not to be confused with the organization, as I said, now has the worldwide exclusive right to sell and distribute that technology, while also having the exclusive rights to all past and future iterations. Now, proof of everything that I just shared can also be found right on the link right over there in the live chat. I will put in the description below. thelightsystems.com/legal is where you can actually read that entire lawsuit if you're interested. I know a lot of people don't actually care about all of this, and I know a lot of people hope that this ends sooner rather than later. But if anybody does want to learn more about that, you can go to thelightsystems.com/legal. I will pin that right over here in the live chat for everybody to be able to tune into and check out for yourselves. Now, a few things that we have to pay attention to. Number one is copyright. My question is this: where is Sandra's copyright or patent, as explained in their own licensing agreements that they have? Because they say that there are copyrights and patent pendings and so on and so forth. Sandra likes to claim that she filed a copyright in 1997, which, by the way, is nowhere to be found in any database anywhere around the world. When she was asked to show proof of the copyright, she showed a trademark filed in 1997 for the term body of light. So it seems that Sandra has confusion between a copyright and a trademark. Those are two completely different things. A trademark just gives you the right to use a brand name. There is no world where a trademark and a copyright are the same thing. Then you have the licensing agreement, which I showed you. You could pause your screen, take screenshots of. It's all part of the public record. Then you have the expert analysis of the codes and the code comparison, which I showed in the past. And then you have the lawsuit that you can actually read yourself, thelightsystems.com/legal. Now, while that is the nutshell summary, some very interesting developments happened and occurred over the last few months, which I'm going to share with all of you today to give you even more clarity on the issue at hand, to make everything absolutely crystal clear, where there is no confusion here whatsoever. In February of 2025, EE System, Sandra, and her son Michael requested a temporary restraining order, otherwise known as a TRO, against me and Robert to bar my speech. In other words, they wanted to silence us. They wanted to silence me specifically. This occurred when I was at one of the lowest points of my life due to the passing of my father. This was an action that ultimately got reversed, for the most part, due to it being unconstitutional. You're not allowed to do prior restraints on speech. That's an infringement of my First Amendment rights in this country of the United States of America. On May 21st, 2025, EE System, Sandra, and her son Michael tried to hold me in what's called contempt of court. In other words, their attempt to silence me didn't work out for them very well since it was unconstitutional. So their next attempt was to try to put me behind bars. They failed. On May 22nd, 2025, Robert Religa and the Light System came together and brought forth a landmark federal lawsuit against EE System, Sandra, and her son Michael in a federal court in New York, which is primarily based on copyright infringement claims and defamation to a large degree. Due to my speech still being barred at that time, I was not able to speak about it until now. Why? Why until now? Because on June 4th, 2025, there was a major breakthrough in the Nevada case. The judge overseeing the case granted a motion to lift the majority of the restraining order on my speech based on it being, as I said earlier, unconstitutional. The judge signed the order just a few days ago, which is why I'm speaking with all of you here today. This was a huge turning point. Interestingly enough, on May 28th, 2025, and I'm just bringing you through the chronology here. On May 28th, 2025, a video was posted on Rumble by SG Anon and a man named Scotty Sachs. Now, I must say, while I don't know much about Scotty Sachs, other than the fact that he is very close friends with Sandra. SG Anon was somebody I really did respect. I've met with him before. I've eaten with him before. I respected him greatly until I saw the ridiculous video he put out where they covered only one side of the story in a sad attempt at a research-based and opinion-based hit piece, because that's really what it was. Now, first and foremost, I do have to say thank you to these individuals for investing so much time into bringing more attention to not only myself, but also the light system technology. While they obviously intended to hurt my name and my reputation, the outcome of their actions, and it's beautiful how things work sometimes, the outcome of their actions have only created more publicity for both me and the light system technology, which has rendered some pretty awesome results. Things like more visitors coming to the website, increased sales, more publicity, and so on and so forth. While the 2 hours, it was over 2 hours of content that they put out focused on me and the light system specifically have backfired on them, both these individuals should be ashamed of themselves. And I'll just say it how it is. Because not only everything they covered was factually incorrect, but they implied that me and my father are criminals. Now, just to be clear, I'm not an angel. Nobody is. We're all human beings. But to call me and my father, who is not here to defend himself, a criminal is crossing the line. These individuals have no respect, no honor. This was in addition to the fact that Sandra herself was telling people just days after the traumatic passing of my own father that my father faked his death and was running from the feds, all while me and my family were mourning the death of my father. I have no words for this other than the fact that it's atrocious. What makes the Rumble video even more of a propaganda attempt is the fact that both SG Anon and Scotty Sachs are very good friends with Sandra, which they even disclosed directly on the video. They are not neutral parties in any way, although they make themselves out to be. They also never heard my side of the story and never even bothered to show my counterclaim or the federal lawsuit against the system in their video, which is filled with factual allegations backed by evidence on the public record proving the original complaint to be nothing more than just a made-up story. One cannot claim to be a researcher when being biased and only showing one side of the story, when there is indeed a full counterclaim to their claims with factual allegations backed by evidence on the public record. The cherry on top is that while they say they spoke to me to hear my side, which is a complete lie, by the way, they also knew that I couldn't comment on the topic, even if I wanted to, because I wasn't able to speak at the time due to an unconstitutional gag order until now, because it's primarily been lifted. And my favorite part was in their last video that they spent more than an hour of their own time on. They included a woman named Artie, or Artie, if I pronounce it correctly, from Germany, on that call, who they invited on their show to share her experiences as a center owner with Unified Healing. But here are the two things they forgot to mention. Number one, she never had an active contract with Unified Healing since she never opened her center with us. So I wonder, how could she give her input on services rendered to her by Unified Healing if she was never an active center? And number two, they also conveniently forgot to mention that she lied to Unified Healing to get a refund on a false basis. She told us that she was not moving forward with opening a center any longer and showed us a supposed refund she was given from EE System for the technology since she was no longer opening a center, or so I thought. We believed her and gave her a refund of $20,000, given that she showed us the proof that she was no longer moving forward. Turns out she made it all up just to get a refund, and that has some serious consequences and implications. This is the person that they brought onto their call. So when it comes to that video, allow me to make a few things abundantly clear. Number one, no one gets to call me, and especially my father, who is no longer with us today to defend himself, a criminal. Again, I am not an angel, but to call me and especially my father a criminal is crossing the line. My father was a man of honor, a man of integrity, who helped an incredible and extraordinary amount of people in this world. His name will not be slandered, and those who try to do such a thing will face consequences. Number two, If you call yourself a researcher and then only cover one side of the story, which lacks fact and evidence that is on the public record, while a counterclaim is on the record with all the facts included clear as day, well, that's just sad. That's not a researcher. That's a sad and desperate attempt at disseminating propaganda. The proper term for it is advocacy journalism. It's like CNN. There is no honor in that. Number three, creating such a video while knowing the individual you are lying about is not even able to defend himself because one had an unconstitutional gag order placed on him, me, and the other has since passed away. That's embarrassing. And it shows the true colors of the individuals behind this video. It shows the true intentions of the individuals behind this video. There is nothing honorable about that. If you want to cover a story, go for it, but show all sides and do it with honor, even if the truth of the matter goes against your own personal interests. And don't be surprised when a response is expressed. This is one of the form of attacks I'm talking about that make a response such as this warranted. As long as that continues, stronger responses will be shared, such as this one. And it will simply be an ongoing loop of stupidity that could simply be avoided by embracing a peaceful resolution as opposed to war. Because I think peace is what everybody wants here. A peaceful resolution is the best path forward. Sandra has stated many times that all she wants to do is heal the world. If that's true, then a peaceful resolution will be found. And all of this will be over very soon. What I will say is this. On June 13th, I got a text message from Scotty Sachs asking me to be a guest on his show with SG Anon. I responded with the following a day later on June 14th. And I said this because they obviously wouldn't read it on their show because they said that it would be doing me a disservice. So let me make what I answered very, very clear. I said this. Do you really think that after you implied that me and my dead father are criminals, that I would ever entertain having a conversation with you? You should be ashamed of yourself. You have no respect. If you did a true investigation, you would know that I wasn't able to share my side of the story when you asked me due to an unconstitutional gag order. Unconstitutional as determined by the judge in Nevada on June 4th, 2025. Your narrative is filled with falsehoods. While you're not somebody I ever cared for, SG Anon was an individual I respected. Unfortunately, that respect has been lost after seeing the thing you call an investigation that he took part in. A true reporter with integrity would research both sides of the story, regardless of which side they are friends with, especially when counterclaims and actual evidence as opposed to empty words are part of the public record. Anything else is merely propaganda, and that is exactly what you are attempting to spread. The fact that an old man, and I called him an old man, the fact that an old man like yourself is taking part in actions like these shows how desperate you are for views and clicks. If you only knew the amount of people that reached out laughing at you. Ironically, by trying to hurt my name, you're only hurting your own. Keep it up. However, I will not partake in the joke that you call an investigation. There is no need for us to have a conversation. The facts will speak for themselves. To which he replied with a laughing emoji. These are the people that we're dealing with. Like I said, zero respect, zero honor. SG Anon and Scotty Sachs, if you're watching this, and I'm sure you are, if you weren't paid off to take part in the propaganda attempt you call an investigation, then the only option left is that you were completely played by the people you call your friends. Being that I was taken advantage of by the same people, I'll give you guys the benefit of the doubt and assume that you were both played. Either way, the fact that you covered a story while omitting so much counter evidence calls into question your ability to do proper research and shows your true intentions. Just look at the comments below your own video from people all around the world going against what you did. And I'm not referring to the ones you deleted. But don't worry, because I do have screenshots of all the comments before you deleted them that point you and your audience to the truth. and I will be sure to use them if and when it becomes necessary to do so. Now that I address that, allow me to give you all some insights on what real research looks like with real facts backed by evidence on the public record that all of you can see, and not just showing snippets of a recording that take things out of context or proportion or portions of a document to distort a truth. And just to be clear, and I want to make this one very clear, my father and I, when he was alive, did have a conversation with Michael, Sandra's son, over Zoom for nearly 3 hours, where my father did get very, very upset with Michael. Why did he get upset? Because Michael was disrespecting and hurting me, my father's son. My father stood up for me, which is honorable. It's what any good father should do. After all, that's the role of a father. And any father who doesn't do that isn't a father. Now let's zoom out to gain more clarity on the current situation. If you follow the series of events that I just shared with all of you in chronological order, the truth becomes even more apparent. In my line of work pertaining to speaking out against corruption, there is something called the three-phase plan of execution that the establishment generally uses against people they see as a threat. Phase one, they silence you. If they fail, then phase two comes. They jail you. And if they fail, then phase three comes. They kill you. Now let's look at what's been going on over here. Number one, they tried to silence me. They failed. Number two, they tried to jail me. They failed. What's next? We'll just have to see how far they're willing to go. But like I said, and I'll keep saying it over and over again, peace and forgiveness are the best way forward for all. But I have no control over the actions of others, only my own. If they do try to move forward with phase three, all I will say is this: good luck. And just to be clear, I don't have a security team, and I don't plan on hiring one either. You want to know why? First and foremost, I don't live my life in fear. If I did, I wouldn't be doing the work that I do. But most importantly, God is the greatest security guard to ever exist, and he trumps the abilities of any man. So long as I stand in truth and integrity, I have undoubted faith that I will be protected. And truth and integrity are all I've ever known. You know who taught me that? My father. He also taught me to never lead with fear. And for that reason, I lead with faith. That's what brought me to where I am today. And that's what I will continue using to propel me forward. Faith, a lesson for all of us here today. So, to dive a little bit deeper, what really happened on May 22nd, 2025? On May 22nd, 2025, a massive lawsuit for copyright infringement and defamation was brought forth by Robert Religa, the inventor of his technology, and the Light System Inc., the exclusive distributor of Robert's technology, against EE System, Sandra, and her son Michael. I'll show you all of the details of this in just a moment, but before I do, one very important thing. On June 24th, just a few days ago, Robert attempted to bring forth what's called an emergency temporary restraining order, an emergency TRO, to stop the other side from selling on the basis of copyright infringement. While EES admitted through their response that Sandra actually is not the inventor of the source code itself, they argued about why it took Robert over 20 years to bring forth a lawsuit. The fact is, he didn't have the funds to be able to do so until now. While Robert's situation was understood from a moral standpoint, it was not sufficient from a legal standpoint. And for that reason, the judge could not deem it an emergency due to the delay, which is why the TRO was denied. Overall, it impacts nothing in the case itself. The case still moves forward full force, and Robert will have the opportunity to collect damages in the New York federal case later down the line. As of today, EE System, Sandra, and her son Michael are all facing the potential of paying major damages due to the copyright infringement claims being made. Time will tell what the outcome will be. I personally hope things don't even have to go that far due to a peaceful resolution being found. But if things must go that far, they will, and damages will be paid. Like I said in my last video about this topic, I am not a man who believes in lawsuits being the honorable way to move forward. I see that as a very cowardly way to move forward. In my opinion, the honorable way to act on this is to deal face to face, man to man, human to human, and find a resolution without indulging in distractions like lawsuits that waste time, money, and energy for all. I personally believe that if all parties zoom out, look at the bigger picture, come back into their hearts, and let go of any ego, peace will prevail. And everyone can simply move on and keep focusing on their missions. Ultimately, this would be the best outcome for all, especially and most importantly, those caught in the middle of it all. People that aren't even a part of it, like I said in the beginning. However, until that time comes, lawsuits will remain in place. And as we all know, the only ones to win in a lawsuit are the lawyers. On the topic of the lawsuit, I want to show you all some key quotes from the New York federal lawsuit that everyone should be aware of, which is also part of the public record. And again, you can go to thelightsystems.com/research. I'm sorry, thelightsystems.com/legal if you want to read this lawsuit in detail. But the key quotes are right here for everybody to see. This is the Light System joins Robert Religa on landmark federal case to sue EE System and its founders for copyright infringement and defamation. The synchronicity engine, now known as the Light System, completed by Religa in 1989, represents groundbreaking computer code that utilizes structured energy patterns, photonic collision, and dynamic linguistic displays to promote holistic wellness. This proprietary technology has been used to deliver a unique type of regimen to people seeking alternative wellness modalities in hundreds of storefront centers worldwide. Despite Religa's clear ownership and valid copyright registration, defendants Sandra Rose Michael and her son, Michael, operating through their company called Energy Enhancement System, have engaged in a systematic and brazen campaign of sleight of hand and misappropriation, generating more than $100 million in sales, while leaving the true creator of the technology, Robert Religa, financially devastated and emotionally crushed. And again, these are not my words. This is just me reading what the lawsuit is actually citing in the New York litigation. Sandra and her son have amassed illicit profits by licensing Robert's stolen technology to unsuspecting buyers through licensing agreements that are in reality legally void because they rest entirely on their fraudulent claim of ownership over Religa's copyrighted source code. Every dollar they have collected through these sham contracts stems from their deliberate misrepresentation of authorship rights, resulting in the terms of their licensing agreements as legally unenforceable. In 2001, Sandra convinced Robert to license his code to her company. But when Robert discovered that Sandra was making unauthorized medical claims, he rescinded the license in 2002. Sandra has also ceased royalty payments, offering Religa instead only token gestures like buying him a bag of groceries or allowing him to stay on her couch, while she continued misappropriating his technology for great sums of money. Meanwhile, Religa was rendered destitute. In an attempt to obfuscate her need to obtain a licensing agreement with Religa like the one she had through her company Body of Light, Sandra instead formed a new company, EES, and began marketing Religa's technology as the EE system and falsely claiming her ownership of it. She would continue to gaslight her customers and claiming that she had rewritten Religa's code to create the EE system. However, even if she had rewritten Religa's code, she never had permission to do so from Religa. The evidence shows that the code was never rewritten. The next year, Religa found a viable partner who agreed to assist him in asserting his ownership over his copyright. In December 2024, Religa entered into an exclusive licensing agreement with the Light System. With the Light System, Religa not only secured a trustworthy partner, but found a genuine ally who would provide him the necessary financial backing to vindicate his rights, which is what's being done today. In response to Religa's new licensing agreement with the light system, EES renewed its campaign of spreading misinformation about Religa and now Light System, all while accelerating their infringing activities and selling wherever possible to tactically block Light System from acquiring new clients. EE System also threatened their own center owners who purchased from them that if they were to go against their licensing agreement with EES, which had and still has no validity whatsoever, they would bring forth further lawsuits, in this case against their own customers. EE System has conveniently failed to inform customers that their licensing agreement are null and void, as they are based on property that does not belong to them. The deception extends to Sandra's credentials. While she currently holds herself out as a PhD, investigative research, which you will see today, reveals no accredited institution has granted her such a degree. She recently engaged in a desperate attempt to have an honorary PhD awarded to her upon begging a professor at Pan American University in Florida for the same, a request that was quickly denied. Fictitious medical degrees to unearned academic honors underscores their reliance on deception to legitimize their theft. For instance, in a hearing under oath in 2020, Sandra conceded that she had dropped out of college before ever earning a degree and was awarded an honorary PhD and MD license by the Ministry of Health of another country, which was apparently a reference to information on her personal website in which she claims to be the Minister of Health for the Republic of New Lemuria, a made-up country. Now, those are just some of the highlights over there, and I only bring this to your attention because I want everybody to be aware of what's actually on the record, like many things that are on the record, like counterclaims to their lawsuit as well. Again, all of this is nonsense to begin with because peace is the most important thing to begin with. But until that prevails, until that comes forth, we have no choice but to be able to defend the truth in the way that we're doing. Again, that entire lawsuit can be found at thelightsystems.com/legal, which is a link pinned to the live chat right now and will be in the description below right after this live stream ends. What you just saw is only the tip of the iceberg. To show you everything will simply take too long. I'm not interested in doing that. I don't think you guys are interested in that either because we don't have hours and days to sit here and we have better things to do. But for the purposes of clarity, I will show you just a couple of extra and powerful points that will make what is going on here abundantly clear. Number one, EE System, Sandra, and her son Michael keep stating that they paid me millions of dollars. This never happened. As a matter of fact, the following letters from November of 2022 and February of 2024 clearly state otherwise, and I'm going to show those to you right here to once again make things very clear for you to see in a very clear way, crystal clear. This one was from November 4th, 2022 from Michael himself. And it was a letter of gratitude when things were going really well. And he was saying, thank you. And you guys can read this, but the highlighted part is the more important part. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being the Morpheus that I needed to become my own Neo, he says. Thank you for not asking for anything other than myself and my family to just keep doing what we were sent here to do with no strings attached. The fact that you haven't asked for a dime in itself is like a fantasy story, LOL, especially today in this time. Now, that was in 2022. What if there's something more recent? And lo and behold, there is. This was from February of 2024. This was the press release that Unified Healing and EE System put out together when they were working more closely together. And it specifically says closer to the end, right over here, a special thank you to Jason Shurka for taking on this massive project without receiving any compensation. And yet somehow they're making the claim that they gave me millions and millions and millions of dollars over the past few years, and that I, for whatever reason, took it all, which is not something I need to do to begin with. It doesn't even make sense. Now, in that Rumble video, I bring this up because this falsehood was shared specifically by that man named Scotty Sachs over and over again. He kept saying, Jason got paid millions of dollars and kept asking for a raise. Now, my question is, how can I ask for a raise if I never asked for compensation, received compensation to begin with? Again, if you're going to lie about something so massive, at least do a better job at it, because this is clear. Number two, EE Systems, Sandra and her son Michael keep stating that they rewrote the code from scratch in 2003 because the code before that was what Sandra called, and I quote, a spaghetti code that didn't work. But there are quite a few problems with that statement. And before I list those problems, I want to show you so you hear that also now, not with your eyes, but your ears. So you hear that I'm not just saying that they said this, but that they actually said it right over here. This is Michael himself speaking.
Between 2002 and 2003, the code was completely rewritten by a Lockheed programmer. We're going to find this programmer and do an interview with him so he can talk about it. But the code is new since 2003.
And just because something looks similar does not mean it is all the same. Yeah. Chocolate looks like mud. It does not taste the same. It does not, it is not the same thing.
Alrighty, so now that we got that one out of the way, let's keep diving into the problems with the statement of the fact that she says that she wrote it from scratch and calls the old one, or Roberts, a spaghetti code that didn't work. Number one, they admitted in the New York lawsuit, and this public record for everybody to see, they admitted in the New York lawsuit that Sandra's brother named Max was given Religa's source code to do what's called an archaeological study on it in an attempt to rewrite the code. The best part is they admitted that Max copied lines from Robert's code directly in their own declarations. This means that according to their own declarations, they did not write it from scratch. My favorite part is how a few months ago, as you heard in the video, they said they need to track down and find this Lockheed programmer, like they don't know who he is and where he is. But today, they say that it's Sandra's brother. Very convenient. Number two, even if they did rewrite the code, that would still be illegal, as they never had authorization from Robert to rewrite his code to create what is called, in the legal terms, a derivative. Doing so is against copyright law and has massive implications and consequences. Now, I'm going to show you another video. The following video shows the program side by side for you all to come down to your own conclusions. Now you'll be able to be the one that comes down to your own conclusions instead of me showing you things. The similarities between the codes are currently being litigated in the New York federal lawsuit. I'm just going to pick this up right here because this is, I mean, a no-brainer. And it shows you basically everything you need to know in this video that I'm going to share my screen on right over here. On the left, you have what's called the alleged EES program. And on the right, you have Robert's synchronicity program, which is now the light system, who has the exclusive licensing rights for the next 20 years worldwide. And as you see, this is the side-by-side program selection where on each keyboard, and you can't see the keyboard, but that's what's connected to these CPUs by USB. Each keyboard at the same time presses F1, F2, F3, all the way through the 16 programs. And the last two are the extra programs that Robert has actually included since to update his code and make it much better than it already was in the past. Now, look at these side by side and you tell me what you see. F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, F8, or I think that's F9, F10, Shift F1, Shift F2, Shift F3, Shift F4, and now the last two are ones that don't exist here because Robert has been updating his code since. Now, I won't say what that means, but you can probably come down to your own conclusion of seeing it side by side and trying to decipher which one is which. Because in terms of the expression of it all, it kind of looks pretty similar. But that's not the best part. Where it gets even more interesting is in the crux of what I'm about to share. EE System as a company was only formed on April 3rd, 2003. Now, before I tell you why I'm sharing that, I want to show this to you because this is also public information that you can see. This is from the website itself, Energy Enhancement System LLC, active from April 3rd, 2003, domestic LLC limited liability company with the Nevada business ID and entity number. So, number one, Energy Enhancement LLC was only formed on April 3rd of 2003, according to public record. And by the way, this is how real research is done. So people can actually see what's going on instead of saying, well, maybe this, maybe that. Let's go on what's actually happening. So here's why that's interesting. EE System as a company was only formed on April 3rd, 2003. And yet there's a study pertaining to EE System on their website from December 11th, 2001. Almost 2 years before that company and that name even formed. That study was done by a man named Dr. Victor Marcial Vega. Now, my question is this: how did they conduct a study on a technology 2 years before it supposedly existed? Because even if we go with the rewrite story, that was only in 2003. How did they conduct a study on December 11th, 2001, unless, of course, they used Robert's spaghetti code that so-called doesn't work? And the deeper I looked into this study, the more I found. And I'm going to show that to you right now as well. The study is right over here. I'm going to share my screen so you can see it. This is December 11th, 2001, with their name on it before so-called herd technology existed in 2003. But here is where it gets interesting if you actually read it. Efficacy. There is one program named Pele's Fire for energy and doing work that has assisted me in doing my work faster. And it talks about how amazing the technology is and the results and the productivity on their brain cognitive. I'm not even speaking English. The productivity that they were able to gain from being around this technology and how their brain cleared up with brain fog and so on and so forth. So again, it specifically says there is one program named Pele's Fire. Now, guess what? Pele's Fire only exists on a Roberts technology. And this is a picture right over here. Pele's Fire, if you do F8, is the 8th program on a Roberts technology. This is from his computer directly and nowhere else. So we have a study from 2 years before their so-called technology even existed, naming his program with his technology, and where it just comes to a point where no matter what you want to say and no matter, what you want to kind of sit on and think, there's something over here that I'm going to show you that's just indisputable. And that's right over here. This man is Dr. Victor Marcial Vega, the man who did the study in 2001. And I want you to listen to what he has to say.
My name is Victor Marcial Vega. I'm a radiation oncologist, and I was just directing the first integrated medicine research symposium at the Condado Plaza Hotel in Hilton. And I'm here to speak about the synchronicity wave system. I've been doing research since 2001 in systems that Robert Regula has developed. And I did a 20-page research report back then in the earlier versions of these systems, which showed that whenever I put patients for 2 hours, because I did a dose response curve that showed that every single patient that was in the presence of this technology for 2 hours will get into a very deep state of relaxation, which allowed them to get the healing they needed. I know that if I can get a patient to a relaxed state and relaxed enough for long enough, they will heal from any situation. So this is very important. Not only do we get very, very accelerated deep meditation with this system, once they're in that meditation, healing can occur much easier. And I've had patients that had organic changes, improvement in their blood, improvement in their pain, in tumors, also improvements in eye health. I've had people that have been completely blind from retinal detachments and completely recovered their vision when they were put in such a system.
And I just want you to listen to the beginning of what he said, because those words cannot go unheard.
And I was just directing the first integrated medicine research symposium at the Condado Plaza Hotel
Right here.
and Hilton. And I'm here to speak about the synchronicity wave system.
So he's here to speak about the synchronicity wave system.
I've been doing research since 2001.
Research in 2001.
In systems that Robert Regula has developed.
On systems that Robert Religa developed.
And I did a 20-page research report back then.
And he did a 20-page research report. Now, that tells you everything you need to know. It doesn't make any sense. So I bring this up because people need to be aware of what's going on. People need to be able to discern and see what's going on. So this proves what you just saw, that Robert's technology, which is what the light system now sells around the world, has incredible impacts and works. In addition to this, there's a question that we need to all be asking, which I asked already, but I'll ask it again. How could they do a study on a technology 2 years before it even existed? And if the code in 2001 was so bad because they called it spaghetti code that doesn't work, how did this study show such incredible impacts? Think about what this means. It's massive. It's huge. I bring this up because on May 8th of 2025, a month and change ago, Sandra clearly stated on a Zoom call that only the EE system technology works, and that, and I quote, look-alike system, as she calls it when referring to the light system, cannot work and has never been proven to work. And just so that's not me taking anybody's words out of context or, out of anybody's mouth, I'm going to show you that as well, because that's literally what was said. Here it is. It is on 2 times speed, so it's going to go a little bit quicker.
Long history. This is something you might want to remind people that you want an authentic, fully aligned, an authentic, real EE system. That's what's tried, true, and tested. Proven technology, miracles 24/7, not a bastardized version that's a lookalike that will not ever work. There's never been miracles coming from something that's deceptive or deception. What creates the miracles is the way my technology was designed to work. Is the cells vibrate and resonate with the power of truth. That's what creates healing. It's the truth that sets us free. That's the codes of instant healing. They took out the codes of alignment with true, best, and highest. No longer has that in what's being sold. And that is, in my opinion, please warn people, that is an unproven and detrimental version of a lookalike that's creating a confusion for people. But, not beneficial. It's not 1000% beneficial, which is what we've created. We've created pristine, energetic environment that is hyper healthy. And that has been tested and proved.
So, Scotty Sachs said something I think important, which I actually agree with him on. He said he's not against competition. He thinks competition is great. It keeps people moving forward, right? It keeps people on their toes. It gets people to keep innovating. But that goes against that completely, because if you want to compete, that's fine. But there are a lot of problems going on here. And by trying to take somebody else down to be able to save yourself is not the way forward. It's just, it's not an honorable way to do things. And it's something that, quite honestly, a lot of people are seeing right through. I don't even have to do the work. They're doing it for me. They're sharing things that they keep changing the origin stories. They keep changing a lot of things. The story keeps changing and people have questions, and rightfully so. My job is to bring forth the truth. My job is to help people discern. And my job is also to say, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. In this situation, there's a lot of proof and evidence to show otherwise. But like I said earlier, I'm not a perfect human being. I'm not an angel. We all make mistakes. Everybody does. But that doesn't change the facts of what we're actually seeing over here. So here's what's interesting with the videos that you guys just saw. The study on Sandra's website, specifically with Dr. Victor Marcial Vega, proves otherwise in terms of what she's saying of it's never been shown to work. And it's a spaghetti code without any, I don't even know what she said over there. Again, Dr. Victor Marcial Vega's study actually proves otherwise. It shows that Robert's technology does work, because that's what the study had to be done on back in 2001, especially if you say that your technology was only created in 2003. Just think about that. These things are important. Lastly, Sandra claims to be the greatest healer on the planet. Many people have heard her say that a lot of times. She calls herself a doctor. However, an investigation by Intuit Investigative Resources proves that not only she's not a doctor, but that nearly all of the awards that she boasts about aren't even hers. The investigation states that they're fraudulent as well. Now, I won't go into all of it because it's quite long. I'm just going to share my screen. Anybody that wants to take pictures to be able to read it afterwards, you can do so. But here it is right over here from this investigation, so you could see it for yourself. I'll zoom out so you guys can see it there. This is page 1. This is page 2, all public record on the docket. And this is page 3 with their signatures and notaries and so on and so forth. So this literally shows what's going on with an investigation. They came back and they said none of that's true, and Intuit Investigative Resources should apologize because it's not true. So here's where it got really fascinating, and it got really fascinating. So when Sandra and EE System heard of this investigation, they went on to claim that, again, this investigation is fraudulent. She came back with so-called evidence of her being what's called a DNM, a doctor of natural medicine, showing a plaque on her wall, as opposed to the PhD she always boasted about, which doesn't exist anywhere from all the research I and many others have done. So I decided to look deeper into her so-called Doctor of Natural Medicine degree plaque, which she claims was given to her by what's called the Board of Natural Medicine Doctors and Practitioners. An email was sent to this organization, the Doctor of Natural Medicine, the Board of Natural Medicine Doctors and Practitioners. An email was sent to them stating the following. Instead of me reading it to you, I'll show you the email with what they responded. Right over here, you just can't make this up. Right over here, I'm going to share my screen. An email was sent saying, "Good afternoon. I am reaching out to confirm the certification status of Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, DNM. Can you confirm whether she has received the DNM certification from your organization, including the relevant date of certification and whether it is up to date? Thanks in advance." This was on May 9th, 2025. And lo and behold, on May 14th, just 5 days later, on Wednesday, they responded, "Thank you for your email. This name doesn't match any current certification name in our database." So say what you want, but that is from that board of doctors directly that have no idea what anybody's talking about when they bring up that name, because she showed that plaque as proof. So what's going on there, time will tell. But that is clear evidence from everybody to see on what's actually going on here. There is no DNM from the records that anybody can find. And it sounds like the investigation from Intuit Investigative Resources is true. And I wouldn't put it past them, because they are literally like independent investigators. That's what they do. They're private investigators. So it appears that the only thing that Sandra has left to lean on is her degrees from what she calls nulla memoria, since she never graduated from college, which, as you heard earlier, she spoke about in a 2020 deposition in court on another case. For the record, nulla memoria is a made-up country. It doesn't exist right now. Also, my question, just from a place of logic, is how does one become a doctor without ever graduating from college? It doesn't make any sense. Now, just to be clear, I'm not one that, holds on to degrees and gives them so much weight. I think that a lot of people in this world can do a lot of incredible things without degrees. But then why lie about having one? Just I come all the time before I do shows and I say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an expert with a degree in this field, but I am a man on a mission that's curious and wants to connect the dots. And that actually helps people relate a whole lot better, because I'm kind of talking their language. So there's no problem with not having degrees, but don't lie about having them. Don't lie about awards. It's wrong. The list goes on and on, but the purpose of this video is not to do just that. It's to stop falsehoods from being spread with factual allegations backed by evidence and not just empty words. As I said in the beginning, my intention is not to bring anyone down. It's not to create more chaos, but it's to share evidence on the public record that will hopefully protect people from dealing with individuals like this in the future. I obviously went through this myself, and I'm sharing this so you don't have to go through the same thing. Also, if it's not clear by now, I will never sit here and let somebody spread falsehoods about me, and definitely not about my father, who is no longer here to be able to defend himself. While he protects me from up above, you better believe that I'm going to be protecting him from down below. So where does this leave us? And what does this mean for the mission as a whole? I can't stress enough. Peace is always the way to move forward because war is filled with ego. It helps no one, it hurts everyone. And the people that we have to be keeping in mind here are the people that actually asked me to find a way to figure this out, the center owners, because they shouldn't be caught in the middle of this. Nobody should be. This is something that needs to be resolved, fixed with a peaceful resolution, and you move forward. But that will take multiple individuals to put down whatever is going on in their minds and say, alrighty, let's do this. I can't force something like that. I can only say I completely support that because a peaceful resolution is always the way to go. War only hurts people. In this case, it hurts people that aren't even a part of this. As I said when I first started this live stream, this doesn't change anything when it comes to the technology itself because the technology does work. There's no refuting that. There's no denouncing that in any way. The proof is in the pudding. However, I will not stand by and allow individuals to take credit and make millions of dollars from somebody else's work while defaming the true inventor's name and spreading falsehoods about how they invented something with a fraudulent origin story that seems to constantly change. That only hurts our collective mission. The Light System, the company, and Robert Religa have been working endlessly to provide both current and future center owners with the tools to maximize the fullest potential of the technology. And they've done just that. People are very happy with what's going on right now in terms of updates and new things of being able to do a wider array of what you can target with the Light System. They've also been bringing forth new designs and enhancements to the technology, which will not only benefit all the current and future center owners, but it's also going to benefit all of you who go to these center owners and achieve greater results. Look at the cube, the beautiful one that many people are getting all around the world. Look at the pyramid that was done like that. There is innovation coming out of this. And with innovation comes beautiful and new breakthroughs. There's a lot of research underway right now in which specific tools were used to measure the before and after effects when it comes to the Light System, giving clarity on the best way to go about using the technology for maximized results. And I bring that up because number one, we have the Victor Marcial Vega study from 2001, but that's 24 years ago. What about something right now? And we have something right now. We used the BioWell, the neural check was used. There were aura scanners that was used, and I have those results right now to be able to show you because anybody that tells you, aka the individuals that I'm talking about, anybody that's going to tell you, hey, this doesn't work and it's a bastardized version, all you have to do is look at the results and then ask, what is their motive for saying something like that? I think it's pretty obvious. I never said their technology doesn't work. I just came and said there's a problem with who owns this. And people need to be honored, and this needs to stop because it's wrong. You can't build something so great on a poisonous or corrupted foundation. Eventually, it will fall if that's the case. And that's what I'm here trying to solve. So over here, just 2 weeks ago, this is a comparative report study using right over here, as you can see, the Aura Video Station 7. This was in Miami, Florida, using a 32-unit light system. Look at the before and afters. And look at the actual comparisons. Went from vibrant and active to calm and grounded. Exactly what Dr. Victor Marcial Vega was saying. They became a lot more calm and went into a more meditative state. It went from emotional clarity, went from expressive but scattered to refined and focused. Chakra harmony went from slightly imbalanced to more aligned and bright. Yin-yang balance went from left dominant to more balanced, and mind-body synchronization went from mental, heavy, and expressive to evenly distributed. And all of these are or can be found on thelightsystems.com/legal. And that's just on one person. There were other ones that were done on a sample size of 16 people. And the results were also pretty spectacular in terms of what was being found and what people were able to experience from this technology directly. It's right over here. This is your 16-person, 32-unit light system, Aura Video Station 7, June 14th, Miami, Florida, with 3 hours per participant, 16 individuals. And this explains everything, and it shows you all the colors over here and so on and so forth. But right over here, it will give you a very simple conclusion. This study suggests that short-term exposure to the light system may enhance participants' energetic balance, emotional clarity, and overall vitality. Changes in aura color, chakra harmony, and relaxation indicators support the hypothesis that such technology can serve as a tool for holistic wellness. And of course, you guys can read all of this and dive deeper into it if you choose. I'm showing you that because the research is not just research from 24 years ago. It's research from recently as well, showing you how all of this actually works, and it does work, and there's no refuting that. All in all, while what I've shared with all of you today, as I said in the beginning, may come as a shock, maybe some of you it doesn't because you've heard some of it before, it's actually been leading to a very good place for many people around the world. As I always say, everything happens for us and not to us. And the way this has been unfolding is a perfect example of that philosophy in action. As I said when I first started, I truly hope this war does not have to continue. I hope that Sandra, her son Michael, and EE System as a company come to their senses, find a peaceful resolution, and focus their energy on helping people heal instead of strategizing how to destroy people. It's time to rise above all of this and focus on what truly matters from the very start, and that is the mission. Remember, energy flows where attention goes, and it is best to focus on positive things instead of things that distract us all from the mission at hand. This is what I'll be doing moving forward, and I hope they do the same. After all, that is what's best for the collective mission. Not wasting time, money, and energy and focus on things that are so stupid. Things that are focused on ego, it's not worth it. There's a bigger mission at play over here. And things like this simply distract from that mission. It's a shame. There's no need for it. And it can be stopped. It can be stopped fast. A peaceful resolution, in my opinion, can be found. The question is, are they for it? Do they want to find a peaceful resolution? Or do they just want to go to all-out war? And if they do want to go to all-out war, we can do that. There's no problem with doing that to bring it to the end. But it's stupid. And it's not in alignment with what we stand for. On a personal level, this journey, as I said in the beginning, has made me stronger than ever. I know it will continue to do so, while on the collective level, this journey with the light system is now yielding incredible results from people all around the world, while making the technology the least expensive it has ever been. And for this reason, I'd like to take a moment to actually say thank you to EE System, to say thank you to Sandra, to say thank you to her son Michael for being the catalysts for this growth. Their actions are the reason why we've all come to such a great point today. And for that, I truly do thank them. I think we all have to thank them. It's interesting how through the darkest of times, the light is revealed. It's like a diamond. It's formed under extreme and immense pressure. And that is exactly what is going on here today. It is just that. It's a lesson that we must never forget and a process that we must always embrace. So with that being said, to not let this thing get too long, I want to end with gratitude. Gratitude to each and every one of you. Gratitude for all the center owners that stepped up, no matter what side you identify with and who you like and who you don't. It's all good. Even if you don't like me, I love you. And I want the best for you. And I want to see all of these centers succeed. And I want to see this entire mission succeed with flying colors. The only way to do that is when peace is found, because anything else distracts from that mission, and nothing is worth that. The vision of what's going on here, specifically with the light system, is beautiful. Not only it's the least expensive it's ever been, but the innovation coming out of it is incredible. The pyramid, the cube, the bigger systems, and some really, really awesome things that are also coming down the line. The goal is to also open this to people that can't spend so much money on something and want something just for their own personal use at home, while also going to these centers, because something much smaller will never replace something that a bigger center has. But it can help you maintain something at home. And that's part of the vision. It's to make this more affordable. It's to make this more accessible. It's to really give access to the entire world when it comes to this technology. Again, forgiveness, peace, and unity is key. That's why I started Unified, because of that mission. It's about coming together, even if we're not the same, even if we don't agree, even if we don't like each other. You do it for the mission. None of this, when it first started, was easy for me. It was not in any way the easy way out. It's not something in any way that I wanted to do, but it's something that I felt obligated to do. Because if I didn't, I would have felt like certain people are getting away with certain things that shouldn't be the case. And eventually it's going to blow up in a lot of people's faces. And we got to stop it now and do it in the proper way. My goal has always, will always be peace, a peaceful resolution, finding a way to move forward and ending all the stupidity filled and driven by ego. It's not what any of us represent. It's not what any of us align on. And what I can say is this: while I don't agree with them on a lot of things, I know that we agree on one thing. War is never the way. That's my opinion on that matter. So again, I would like to say thank you to the center owners. And I ask all of you to say thank you to the center owners for making this possible. It's not me that made this possible. Sure, I stood up and I did what I did, and we grew tremendously in a very short period of time and helped a lot of people. But the center owners are the ones that we have to say thank you to, no matter where they stand, no matter what their opinion is. They are the ones that we must support. And it's extremely, extremely important to do that. So again, thank you very much to each and every one of the center owners, wherever you are around the world, for making all of this possible. I acknowledge you. I honor you. I support you no matter what. I want to acknowledge everyone's hard work who helped all of this get to this point in the first place, because this is pretty miraculous in terms of how much has been done in such a short period of time. But while acknowledging all of them and giving gratitude, again, I will always bring it back to peace and forgiveness moving forward. That is the key. It's the only way that everybody wins. The only way. In alignment with my message today, because I do have to practice what I preach, Dr. Brian Ardis is one of the individuals who actually stepped up to collaborate with Unified Healing. Collaborate with Unified as a whole to bring more awareness to the mission at hand, while I'm going to be helping him with the same things with his mission, because we align on those missions specifically in a beautiful, beautiful way. The man stepped up. Him and I are actually hosting a in-person 3-day event, just like the transformation a year and a half ago. Only this one is called Becoming Superhuman, 3-day event with myself and Dr. Brian Ardis. He's going to be bringing forth some magic for everybody that's going to be there, while also bringing forth a lot of incredible support to all the Unified Healing Center owners. He's actually writing an educational book right now for all of them, all the center owners, that can give you all, the center goers, the people that go to the center, that book to be able to educate yourselves, because education is key. What is the best way to eat? How do we go about reading blood tests? So on and so forth, nutrition, and so on and so forth. He is a very, very powerful man with a lot of resources. And I'm grateful that he stepped up to support this mission. Not supportive of me directly, right? It's not about supporting one person over another. It's about supporting a mission, not a person. And that's exactly what we're doing over here. So Becoming Superhuman is happening very soon, about 6 months, less than 6 months, in Miami, Florida, from January 16 to January 18. There are 444 spots available. The light system technology will be there. 32-unit system will be there in the room for everybody to experience throughout the 3 days. And the first 100 people to get their tickets will also be entered into a raffle to get either a free light system pyramid or a free light system cube. Ticket sales open on July 1st, in just about 2 days from now. I believe that's on Tuesday. So make sure to check it out. You can join the wait list. There are 444 spots available. Right now, there are about 600 and change people on the website, on the waiting list. I'm sorry. So the first 444 to get it on July 1st will be there in person. And again, it opens in 1 day, 16 hours, 39 minutes, and about 20 seconds from now. The event is Miami, Florida, January 16 to January 18, 2026. You can learn all about it at jasonshirka.com/becoming superhuman. And I bring this up right now because it's very important that I practice what I preach. I have to stay aligned with what it is that we're talking about, with what it is that I preach and I share to the world. And no matter how hard it is at some point, because again, I'm human, right? I get mad. We all get mad at certain things when you feel that somebody wronged you or stabbed you in the back, but there's always a higher road to take for all parties. And that higher road is peace. That higher road is forgiveness. It may not be unity in terms of working together, but that's fine. That's okay. We need to move forward. Everybody needs to move forward because this whole thing, it's nonsensical. And it really is just stupid. So becoming superhuman, I bring that up because that's an event that I practice or I preach all of these things and I have to practice it. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So again, jasonshirka.com/superhuman is where you can learn more about that. I will put the link in the description below. If you want to learn more about that lawsuit, if you are interested, you can go to thelightsystems.com/legal. And most importantly, in terms of the technology, being the least expensive it's ever been in honor of July 4th, meaning up until July 4th, over the next 4 or 5 days, up until Friday, for anybody that moves forward to get the light system, whether for personal use or commercial use, you can get 10% off. You could save up to $11,000 on your purchase, and that's happening until July 4th. So you can learn more at thelightsystems.com, read all about it, see what it has to offer, see how it works, and so on and so forth. And we take it from there. So with that being said, I want to close up here. Number one, first and foremost, and the most important, I want to say thank you very, 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 very much for your love and your support. My intention of this video is not to create more war. It's not to create more chaos. It's to answer a recent attack because an answer is warranted. And it's to say a peaceful resolution is key. That's the only way that everybody will win. And if that is not found, people that aren't a part of this get hurt for no reason. And it's just not worth it. It's stupid. We are here to love. We are here to give. We are here to unite, and we are here for peace. We are not here for war. And that's something that, although I don't agree with them on many things, I know that we can all agree on. Because even though there are things that were done over there that are questionable, it doesn't change the fact that, yeah, the mission is, let's help humanity heal itself. We just won't do it together now. That's okay. Agree to disagree. Move on your differences. Let go of the ego and shoot forward beyond the stars. That's what I think is the best way moving forward. I'm sure everybody agrees on that front. What I would like to say is I love you all. I appreciate you all. The past few months of my life have not been easy with the passing of my father. It's something that I'm navigating. It's something that I'm figuring out. It's something that I never thought would happen at this point in time at such a young age, but it's something that's here. And it's something that instead of resisting, I had to accept very early on when it happened and do what I know he would have wanted me to do. And that is make this world a better place. Make this world a healthier place. Because that's part of what he dedicated his life to as well. And that's what I intend to continue moving forward as well. So I appreciate you all. I love you all. Thank you for the support. It means the world. But please remember, you are not supporting me. We are supporting a greater mission. And a peaceful resolution allows that mission to move forward uninterrupted. That is the key. That's how we move forward. The truth always wins, love always wins, and the answer is love, always. I love you all very much. I appreciate you all very much. I will see you all soon on my next big live. I don't know when I'm going to host one, but there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. So be sure that I will host something pretty spectacular in the near future with just everything going on in the world right now, because there's a lot going on in the world right now. I look forward to continuing this journey of love, of beauty, of unity with each and every one of you. And thank you all very much for being here. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend. And God bless you leading into the rest of your week. Go to jasonshirka.com/superhuman to join the wait list. Ticket sales open on July 1st to get your tickets before they run out. Only the first 444 people will be able to get them. And from there, go to thelightsystems.com to get 10% off your order, so long as you order before July 4th in honor of Independence Day and liberation. I love you all. Thank you all very much. God bless you. And I'll see you all soon.